The purpose of this video is to demonstrate a good way to glue the sidewalls of your rubber tires for indoor carpet racing for touring cars. With today's high traction carpet, many people have taken to gluing the sidewalls of their front tires so that on initial turn-in it actually reduces the amount of grip and stops your car from traction rolling. I've been investigating a good way to glue a tire so that it works well, it's smooth all the way around the tire, and it lasts without cracking or breaking if the car were to, hit one of the pipes or something like that. And I have found a method that seems to work out pretty well. So before we begin, the things you're going to need to glue a tire. Obviously, you're going to need the tires you're going to be gluing. A CA, I recommend using CA Plus, which is a gap-filling medium viscosity CA. You can get it from Bob Smith Industries or Pacer, which makes the Zap-A-Gap brand. If you do go with Pacer, you're going to be looking for the Zap-A-Gap Plus, which comes in the green bottle. You're also going to need some form of accelerator or zip kicker. If you go with Pacer, they make the Zap Zip Kicker. If you go with Bob Smith Industries, you can go with their Instaset. Doesn't matter if it's aerosol or pump, either one will work. Anytime you're working with CA, I highly recommend keeping a bottle of CA remover within arm's reach, just in case you glue your fingers together or you accidentally get glue on a surface where you don't want it. The other thing I'll highly recommend is a set of safety goggles. The fumes from CA glues will irritate your eyes, and you're going to be working pretty close to the surface you're going to be gluing, so I would recommend wearing eye protection. The other thing you're going to need is either a cup or a glass, and you're going to want to make sure that it fits around the tire with room to spare. You don't want it to be too close to the tire. You're going to want to actually have room all the way around it, and want to make sure that you have an air gap. So, getting started here. I'm going to put on my safety glasses and grab our glue. Now, when you go to glue the tire, you're going to want to use the actual tip of the CA bottle almost as a brush to help push the glue around on the actual edge of the tire. I like to start somewhere where there's a little bit of writing on the tire, just so as I spin the tire around, I can keep track of where I started and make sure I end up right at the same spot. So I'm going to squeeze the bottle just a little bit for the beginning to get the glue flowing. Once the glue starts flowing, I find that it actually comes out of the bottle on its own, and it just kind of flows on its own. So we're going to slowly rotate the tire and push the glue about halfway up the sidewall and onto the rim itself. Now, how far you go up the sidewall is entirely up to you. That is it's something that you can tune. The higher you go up on the sidewall with the glue, the less traction you will have on initial turn-in. Now, again, people glue their sidewalls because there's too much traction on turn-in, so most people go pretty high up the sidewall when they are gluing their tires. I personally do 2 coats of glue, the first one being a little bit in, the second one going closer to the edge of the tire a little bit more. So we're going to go all the way around the tire, make sure it's nice and even, and just check it without actually applying the glue. You can use the tip to rub it around to make sure it's a nice even coat. Now, once you're done with the glue, the next thing you're going to do is you're going to grab your accelerator and you're going to give a quick spray inside the cup or the glass that you're going to be using. So we literally just take our glass. I'm going to balance it here. And we're going to give it a quick spray. That is all we need. What we're basically doing is we're using the vapors from the CA accelerator as opposed to the accelerator itself. And then we're going to take our glass, we're just going to put it right over the tire. So what's happening now is the fumes from the kicker, the accelerator, are actually mixing with the CA, and that's going to help to harden the surface. It really doesn't take that long. I found that really need only about 30 seconds to a minute of actual set time to let the glue harden and do its work. Once you're done, you'll see we'll lift off the glass and it will be completely dry to the point where it is drivable. This is really good if you're at a race where you're buying tires at the track and you want to glue them right before you go out. With this method, it only takes about 30 seconds to a minute and the gluing process is done. You can lift the glass up and check to see if it's dry. You just touch it with your finger and you'll know right away if it's dry or if it's not. So let's see, it's been about 30 seconds. We'll give it a quick check, and still a little bit tacky. So we'll put the glass back on, and we'll give it another bit of time. Like I said, I do 2 coats on the actual tire. I found that 2 coats gives it the strongest bond, and also creates a thick enough layer so that even if you take some really hard hits driving around the track, the CA won't crack. So we're going to let it go a little bit longer. See how it turns out. And we'll lift up our glass. And the CA is dry. So I can run my finger all the way around it. It's dry, there's no cracks, there's no bubbles. It's a nice, clean, even coat. And we're ready to begin our second coat. So again, taking our CA, we're going to apply it right, just start the flow going, and I like to push it out a little bit further. So we're going to take that out pretty close to the edge. You can actually measure how far you're going out once it's dry with the caliper. Well, the number I've seen from a lot of pro drivers is they take it out to 59 millimeters in diameter. Seeing as how a touring car tire is 63 millimeters, that's pretty close to the actual contact patch on the tire. So again, we use the tip of the bottle to help push the CA right where we want it. And we're going to do one full rotation. On the second coat, I also like to go back around and make sure that the second coat is touching the rim. I found that putting CA on the rim helps with the overall strength of the sidewall and helps to eliminate cracking. Just go all the way around once. If there are any bubbles that come up while you're actually doing this, sometimes bubbles can happen. Because this glue takes so long to set, there's nothing wrong with taking the tip and just pushing that bubble and smoothing all of the CA out. It's not going to dry until you actually use the kicker with the glass. If you were just to leave this in the open air, it would take hours for this to dry. Again, this is the thicker CA, so it takes longer. And the other issue is that with CA, the way it works is the CA has to be exposed to oxygen, to air, for it to dry. That works for the outer surface of the CA, but the actual CA that's underneath that outer surface takes even longer to be exposed to the air. With the kicker, it's a really quick process. It accelerates the whole thing. So again, we're going to take our CA. I'm going to use another tire here just to balance. And we're going to spray our CA into the glass. Doesn't need to be super long, just a quick. That's it. That's all we need. Because we're using the vapors, not the actual liquid itself. And then we take our glass, and we're going to put it right over the tire. And just let it sit. For anybody who's wondering if you've never worked with Zip Kicker before, I strongly advise against spraying it right onto the sidewall. It makes the CA very brittle when you put kicker on the CA itself, and you could end up with a sidewall that is very prone to cracking. The moment you take a hard hit or even under hard braking when the tire wants to bend or fold, it can crack the CA and you pretty much have to scrape it off and start from scratch. So we're going to let this sit for about another 30 seconds. It takes anywhere from 30 seconds to a minute for the CA to cure. But as soon as you pull the glass off and verify that it's hard, you are ready to go racing. So we'll let it go just a little while longer. Give it a quick check. And this is completely dry and we are ready to race. If you take a look, it is a nice, smooth sidewall that is strong. It still looks perfect. It'll hold up under the vigors of racing. And you are all set. If you guys have any comments, feel free to post them in the video, or you can send me a message and ask me any questions. I'll be happy to answer them. And there you go. Happy racing.